Have you ever looked back and thought, if only I knew then what I know now? I sure have. And now that I've hit 70, those thoughts show up more often than I'd like to admit. It's funny, isn't it? When you're younger, you feel like you've got time to figure it all out. But then one day, you wake up and suddenly you've got a lifetime of experience and just a little bit of frustration that you didn't learn some of these lessons sooner. But hey, better late than never, right? I'm not here to complain or dwell on regrets. In fact, I'm here to do the opposite. I want to share a few things that I genuinely wish someone had pulled me aside and told me years ago. Not fancy advice or complicated life hacks, just simple truths that would have made my journey smoother, my days brighter, and my heart a little lighter. So if you're in your 60s, 70s, or even older, this video's for you. And if you're younger, stick around. You might just save yourself a few gray hairs. Alright, let me tell you the first thing I wish I had known sooner. Your body whispers before it screams. I used to brush off the little aches. A stiff knee here, a tight shoulder there. I'd say, it's just part of getting older, pop an aspirin, and keep going. I thought slowing down meant giving up. But that stubborn mindset? It cost me time, energy, and more than a few visits to the doctor. What I didn't realize is that our bodies talk to us. They don't just suddenly break. They whisper. A little fatigue after walking. A twinge when reaching for something. I ignored those whispers, and before I knew it, they turned into shouts. If I could go back, I'd treat my body with more kindness. I'd stretch every morning, even just for 10 minutes. I'd stop thinking rest was a sign of weakness and start seeing it as fuel. Because that's what it is. Rest recharges us. Sleep repairs us. And movement? Gentle, intentional movement. It keeps us alive. You don't have to run marathons. Just keep moving in a way that feels good. And when something hurts, don't ignore it. Listen. Adjust. Now, the second thing I wish I had learned earlier is this. You don't need to say yes to everything and everyone. Phew. This one took me decades to understand. For most of my life, I said yes out of guilt, out of habit, out of fear that I'd disappoint someone. Can you relate to that? I volunteered when I was tired. I agreed to dinners when I really just wanted a quiet evening at home. I spent years putting other people's comfort above my own, until one day I realized I didn't even know what I wanted anymore. Here's the truth that finally set me free. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to your own peace. And you know what? People adjust. They'll survive if you decline the invitation. They'll be fine if you set a boundary. In fact, most of the time, they'll respect you even more for it. Because saying no isn't selfish. It's honest. And at this stage in life, honesty is a gift. To others, yes, but especially to ourselves. I've found that when I protect my time, my energy, and my peace, I show up better for the people I truly care about. I laugh more. I listen more. I'm present, not just physically, but emotionally too. And that kind of presence? That's more valuable than 1,000 yes. The third thing, oh, this one's tender. Time is not something we spend. It's something we share. For years, I treated time like money. I budgeted it, scheduled it, tried to squeeze as much productivity out of every minute. I was always thinking about the next thing, errands, tasks, to-do lists. I was so focused on getting things done that I missed a lot of what was right in front of me. But time isn't just about getting things done. It's about being with people. Not just in the same room, but really with them. Listening to stories. Holding a hand. Watching a sunset without checking the clock. Looking back, some of my sweetest memories weren't the big trips or planned events. They were the simple, quiet moments I shared with people I love. Laughing with my daughter over coffee. Sitting in silence with my old friend after his wife passed. Watching my grandson play on the floor and realizing, this is it. This is what life's really about. So now I try to share my time, not just use it. I ask questions. I sit longer. I let the conversation wander. Because time, when shared with intention, becomes something sacred. And you don't need a full schedule to feel fulfilled. You just need presence, love, and a willingness to slow down. You know, it's funny how life teaches us things only after we've had the chance to mess them up a few times. I guess that's the trade-off. Wisdom often comes at the cost of experience. And the fourth thing I wish I'd understood sooner is this. Worry doesn't stop bad things from happening. It only steals the joy from today. I used to be a world-class worrier. If there was something to stress about, I was already 2 steps ahead, playing out the worst-case scenario in my mind like a movie. I'd lie awake at night thinking about money, my health, the kids, the future, even things that hadn't happened yet. Especially things that hadn't happened yet. But here's what I finally realized, and it came after far too many sleepless nights. Most of what I worried about never actually happened. And the few things that did? Worrying didn't prepare me for them. It just made me tired. I wish someone had sat me down when I was younger and said, "You don't have to carry every possible outcome in your head. Just focus on today. Handle what's in front of you." Because really, that's all any of us can do. Now, when worry creeps in, and it still does sometimes, I pause. I take a breath. I ask myself, can I do anything about this right now? If the answer's no, I try to let it go. If the answer's yes, I do what I can and then move on. It's not always easy, but it's freeing. And it makes space for peace, for laughter, for the good stuff. And speaking of good stuff, here's something else I wish I'd embraced a long time ago. Joy doesn't have an age limit. Somewhere along the way, I bought into this idea that growing older meant becoming more serious. Like fun was for the young, and once you reached a certain age, you had to start acting like a proper grown-up all the time. I stopped dancing in the kitchen. I stopped singing in the car. I stopped trying new things because I thought, well, that's for younger folks. But joy? Joy doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't check your birth certificate before showing up. It lives in the little things. The taste of fresh strawberries in the summer. The sound of your favorite song on a Sunday morning. The feeling of sand between your toes, even if it takes you a little longer to get back up afterward. One day, I saw a group of kids running through the sprinklers at a park. They were squealing and slipping and laughing like it was the best day of their lives. And I remember thinking, why did I stop doing things like that? Not literally running through sprinklers, maybe, but when did I stop chasing moments that made me feel alive? So I gave myself permission to be silly again, to laugh at my own jokes, to wear the bright-colored shirt, to try new recipes even if I messed them up. And let me tell you, it changed everything. Joy doesn't fade with age. We just forget to look for it. But once you start noticing it again, it shows up everywhere. I'll be honest, sometimes joy takes a little effort now. My knees crack when I stand. I forget names more than I'd like to admit. And I definitely don't bounce back from a late night like I used to. But those things don't cancel out the happiness that's still possible. In fact, they make me appreciate it more. And that brings me to another quiet truth. You don't have to be who you used to be in order to love who you are right now. For a long time, I measured myself by who I was. What I used to do. What I used to look like. How strong or sharp or successful I used to be. And every time I couldn't live up to that younger version of myself, I felt like I was slipping somehow. But aging isn't a decline. It's a shift. A transformation. And there's a strange kind of beauty in that. You trade speed for patience. You trade ambition for peace. You trade intensity for presence. It's not worse. It's just different. I used to dread birthdays. Now I celebrate them. Each one means I've gotten more time, more sunsets, more cups of coffee, more hugs. That's a blessing no matter how you slice it. So now I look at the mirror with softer eyes. I see wrinkles and laugh lines and silver hair, but I also see a survivor. Someone who's been through storms and still shows up every day. And that's something to be proud of. The last thing I wish I had learned earlier in life, maybe more than all the others, is this. You don't need a big life to have a meaningful one. When I was younger, I thought success meant something loud, big jobs, big houses, big achievements. I chased a version of life that looked good from the outside, even when it didn't always feel good on the inside. And somewhere along the way, I confused being busy with being important and being seen with being valued. But now, at 70, I see it so differently. The most meaningful moments I've ever had weren't the flashy ones. They weren't on a stage or in a photo album. They happened quietly, without fanfare, when no one was watching. They happened in the quiet of early mornings, sipping coffee with someone I love, in holding the hand of a friend who was grieving, in the smile of a grandchild reaching up without a word, in forgiving someone who never said sorry, and in forgiving myself, too. Meaning doesn't come from having a lot. It comes from feeling a lot. From being kind. From showing up. From making someone's day a little better, even if your name's never in the headlines for it. We live in a world that celebrates constant achievement. But no one tells you that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is just be still. To stay soft in a hard world. To keep loving even after you've been hurt. To wake up each day and choose gratitude, even when things aren't perfect. And that's the kind of life I wish I had valued sooner. Not the one that looked impressive, but the one that felt real. If you're watching this, maybe you're wondering if it's too late to change. Let me stop you right there. It's never too late. Not at 60, not at 70, not at 90. You still have time to build something beautiful, right where you are, with what you have. It doesn't take a complete overhaul. Sometimes, it starts with something as small as taking a walk without your phone. Calling someone just to say hi. Laughing at yourself when you burn the toast. Giving yourself a little grace when the day doesn't go as planned. Life isn't a race. And if it is, then the prize isn't at the finish line. It's in all the little steps along the way. So here's what I'll leave you with. Be gentle with yourself. You've made it this far through heartaches and hard days, through victories and mistakes. You're still here. And that alone is something worth celebrating. You don't need to be younger to feel alive. You don't need to be perfect to be loved. And you don't need to have it all figured out to enjoy where you are right now. If any of these things I've shared today hit home for you, even just one, I hope it gives you the permission to live a little freer, a little slower, and a whole lot more true to yourself. And hey, if you've got a lesson you've learned along the way, I'd love to hear it. Drop a comment below. Share your story. Let's remind each other that we're not alone in this. If you found something helpful or comforting in this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want more gentle wisdom and encouragement like this, consider subscribing. This channel is here to grow with you, to walk beside you, and to keep reminding you that every stage of life has something beautiful to offer. Here's to living your best life, right now, exactly as you are. You're not too late. You're right on time. And from one friend to another, thank you for being here.